You know, if you lose a trade in space, it doesn't count because nobody can hear your screams.
Good thing I don't lose.
Frank. We're not lost, are we?
According to the spinning thing in front of me, I have no idea.
What was that?
Sorry, I just got an Edgefinder alert on my Discord.
Wow, nice add-on.
I really don't understand why we're looking for this planet.
Frank, it's because someone told us that there's this planet out there where traders can get funded up to $200,000 in simulated trading accounts. And if you pass, you get the chance to get all your money back. It's really kind of a trader's paradise.
Traders have been searching the stars for a place like this, and it's just too good to be true.
Frank, you just gotta believe. Once you get there, they'll give you 15% off any examination with promo code A1Trading15.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, Frank, take us out of hyperspace.
Coming out of hyperspace. Now, that's FX2.
That's it. That's FX2. The legends are true. It is as good as they say.
Wow, this is incredible. There's a big giant sign that's got a promo code at the front that says A1 Trading 15 for 15% off.
We finally made it to FX2. Get your discounted access to their trading accounts right now. Link and promo code down below in the description and in the chat right now.
Can you repeat all of that once again?
No.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another live stream. Bear with me here. I am making some adjustments. I moved over to Google's Microsoft Edge this morning, just temporarily. My Chrome is being weird, so I was making that adjustment over. But good to see everybody here in the chat with me. We've got a lot of you as we get started for what is arguably one of the biggest streams of the month. So real quick, like I said, I've got to just get my chart sorted here. Let me get my color scheme here. And then we want to go, like, we got our watch list and everything. That's good. Might need to just extend. There we go. And again, sorry about the setup here. Usually I've got my Chrome, but my Chrome's having some issues. I got to play around with that after stream. Good morning to everybody who's here with me. We are prepping. This stream is in preparation for perhaps one of the most important statistics of the month. It is, of course, the jobs numbers out of the US. If we go pull up our Forex Factory here, let's go forexfactory.com. We can pull this guy up here and talk a little bit about what's on the horizon here. Again, as I mentioned, we have NFP, which is big, but we also have a couple things on our radar here. We've got actually a very busy stream here planned for you guys this morning. We're going to be going for a while, similar to what we did on Wednesday. We're not going to do 6 hours, but we do have some stuff planned all the way through 10 a.m. where we have ISM services PMI, which will also be market moving. There's a forecast of 53 on that. So it should be interesting. Now, in terms of what we've got ahead of us, guys, we are just about 10 minutes out from the NFP employment change. Of course, this is going to give us an inside look at the US jobs numbers. Now, what's so important this time around, in my opinion, is just as important as the actual change in jobs is the wage growth, okay? Now, if you're a fundamentalist, you understand this straight up because wage growth, this is almost like an inflation measurement. If jobs are getting raises rapidly, that is inflationary, right? What that does is it causes prices everywhere to start going up again. So if jobs stay healthy, right? We are expecting 178,000 jobs. Previously, we had 336. That was a massive jump. We're 8 minutes out. You can see the timer starting now. In terms of this, last time we got a 0.2%, which was cooler than expected while we had hot jobs creation. That was a wonderful report for the risk on soft landing crew like myself. We're going to see if we can hold on to the dream here, but markets have stayed very, very strong in the aftermath of basically what has been Jerome Powell's. It's being perceived as almost his kind of dovish step in previous the Fed meeting, right? Now, I would love for you guys' help here. We have a lot of you in here. There's 400 people. First of all, hit that thumbs up button. But second of all, if you guys would just comment really quick, which chart would you like me to look at for you? I know that there's a lot of you in here, a lot of different charts people want to look at. I'm going to assume that a safe starting point is going to be the dollar. Here's your 1 day chart. And this is really a key spot where we're at, guys, and I'll show you why. So on the Fed meeting day, which was, of course, a massive day for the dollar, we rejected levels of resistance here that I thought were looking pretty promising to break out. Now, I didn't have any longs going into this day, but this candle told me a lot about the dollar. And if you watched that video, then you know what I pointed out. Or if you watch the stream, then you know we pointed out if this candle closed weak, it's going to lead to the dollar likely coming right back into this range and staying stuck. Today, we have the bear's turn. Is the dollar going to break out lower? Again, this was the bull's turn, and the bulls completely dropped the ball because Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he had a pretty dovish sounding position. Now, of course, I absolutely loved that was the case because I am still long the S&P 500, which has been if the chart would load, it has been a monster mover. I don't know what just happened to my trading view. Hold on, let me just refresh the page. It's been a massive mover to risk on assets. So this is SPY, and let's see, is my position? Yeah, there it is. Yep, my trading view is having a morning, I will tell you that much. So I'm still long S&P 500. I picked this one up. It has just been a massive trade. And I've said this many times. I've been wrong several times recently on the indices, so it's nice to finally catch a winner. I'll tell you what I'm looking for out of this NFP report. I'm looking for anything that's not devastating to the soft landing story. Soft landing, what I mean by that is jobs stay strong while inflation kind of comes down and the Fed doesn't have to freak out and raise rates a ton more, right? That if the Fed continues to stay hawkish, it's more and more likely that we enter a recession, as their counterbalancing movements could really act to slow the economy pretty bad, right? A mild slow in the economy that's not the end of the world. An end of the world is, well, not an end of the world, but a worse situation is where we have, an economy that's way too hot and the Fed has to do way more in order to get it under control. And in that action of trying to get it under control, they break the economy. That's what a hard landing looks like. I am not in that camp. I think that the Fed has the potential here that to actually enter into a soft landing effect, which is we get that economy to slowly, mildly cool. Inflation comes down, relaxes a little bit on that front, and the economy and the stock market and various markets to follow stay kind of cool. Now, in terms of a soft landing, I'll tell you something. A soft landing is not necessarily great for the dollar, right? The dollar has been pumped up over and over off of fears about rising interest rates and that sort of thing. Right now, it does seem like that story has lost, that knife has lost its edge, if you will. We're coming into the jobs number, which will give us a little bit more insight on that concept. We will talk about gold. I know a lot of you guys just said gold. We'll take a look at gold. Don't worry. Like I said, it all starts with the dollar, and the dollar here, in my opinion, has something to prove here. If we get poor jobs numbers today, guys, boop, right underneath that low. In my opinion, if you get a really weak jobs number today, this support is unlikely to hold. If you get a really strong jobs number, I think we stay in this range. And unless you get a massive job number, I don't think we break out. because again, we failed on Jerome Powell's speech, which was where the dollar, if the dollar bulls were going to get it, it was going to be on JP's speech. We didn't get that, right? In fact, it was a total loss for dollar bulls in terms of JP's speech. So we go take a look at gold here. Gold, guys, still in an upward trend, still holding on, but I think I've made this point several times. What was this kind of easy upward trend has now kind of gone into a sideways one. And I think for gold bulls or bears, we need to wait to see what price wants to do, especially with NFP right around the corner here. Again, if you get something that breaks us higher, meaning perhaps a really weak dollar, right? That could be something. Get us comfortably back in the 2000s. If you're a bull, this is our, I would say that prospects for bullishness. If you're like me, if you're like, I'm not opposed to the idea of getting long gold, if we see something really change with the dollar, to me, the breakout point is interesting. I'm looking for breaks and retests. If you're a bear, what you want to see is dollar strength, relight the flames, and get us to break underneath the lows, right? Please be very careful as we go into NFP, guys. I do want to say we are just about a minute and a half away from the event, and we're going to watch the numbers together. I'll pull up different screens so that we can see several assets. We've talked dollar. We've talked a little bit about the S&P, which is, of course, where I am currently positioned, and we've talked about gold. So what I want to do real quick is we have 600 of you guys in here. Can you just do me a quick favor? Hit that thumbs up button, and remember, as we get closer, I like to say this every time, please don't go anywhere after the spike. The real trading setups happen after the news. Everybody thinks it's trade the spike. The trading the spike is akin to gambling. Don't do that. Instead, watch for those news moves to create opportunities for you. And I'll show you what I'm looking at personally, and I'll show you my live account if you stick around with me through the event. Again, we've got NFP coming in just 1 minute. So let me go ahead and prep us here to watch the release. Again, we're going to put up gold in the top left here today, guys. So gold traders up here. Let's see, dollar traders, I'll put you top right. So we got dollar top right, gold top left. I think Frank is here. Maybe we can bring Frank in just to react with me. So we've got gold, dollar, euro, bottom left. Hey, Frank, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We are coming into the number here. I'm just prepping the charts to watch this. So I've got S&P bottom right, dollar top right, gold, and euro. And guys, we are about 15 seconds out from this really important news number. So let's go to breaking news coming in hot. All right. And should be getting the number here in just a moment. All right, initially gold up, dollar down again. S&P 500
jumping.
Euro moving higher. Frank, if you see those numbers, feel free to share them. Look at that gold wanting to go here. It's
even lower than expected.
Was it? All right, guys, let's get the number here. Can what was the number, Frank? What was it?
150.
150. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of red coming in. Oh, Frank, 0.2% on the average hourly earnings. We like to see that, guys.
Wage growth slowing.
That is what we like to see. That is, well, okay, so we get a little mix. You know, Frank, that's a number that we can work with.
So I had actually kind of a bullish idea for both sides of the coin. If NFP came in hotter, as it has been, as long as we saw a slow in inflation, which would be CPI, but wage growth is also very important for an inflation indicator. So seeing that lower than expected, it essentially remained unchanged, but seeing it not move any higher while, you know, we've seen a ton of jobs added in the last 2 months, I think that's a good sign, especially now that NFP is lower too. That's what traders want to see. Powell did mention, though, he wants a strong labor market, which honestly we have been seeing, but I guess this month was a whole lot slower.
Well, and I guess, Frank, if you look at this, so we're looking at 178K forecast. We came at 150. That's light, but it's not devastatingly light. I mean, last time, remember, we got a revised number that came out almost 300K jobs. So that was a big surprise. But you add this in to the fact that we're getting not only, hey, labor's kind of close, and if not slightly cooler than what we wanted to see, or at least what the Fed wanted to see. And at the very same time, you get a tick up in unemployment. You get a lower than expected print and average hourly earnings. I mean, that's really important. If you're talking about combating inflation, wage growth is a massive contributor to inflation. So we've got a nice print here. We've got a reasonable print there. Again, I'm with you. I'm not necessarily, as long as this number is not massively higher or massively lower than the forecast, I'm fine with that. And then in terms of unemployment rate, this is going to this 3.9%, all of these numbers coming in together, it's one print. So you always have to take it with kind of a rolling 3-month average viewpoint as we talk about. But this is a progress in the form of a slowing labor market, which Jerome Powell and the Fed in general have consistently pounded on how important it is that we get that. And here we are coming off of a dovish sounding, or reasonably how we interpret it, pretty dovish sounding Fed on Wednesday. You combine that with a jobs number that's going to make them kind of be like, yeah, let's wait and see. I think stocks have a little bit of a runway. And Frank, I got to say, again, we were very wrong in the last few weeks about when we entered into stocks. I'm speaking personally. I know you took some, but I think I did worse than you did because you trailed out of some stuff. But I think we got it right this week. We are really on the ball with this S&P longs that we're both in.
Yes, and this breakout too on that. Yeah. You're on the 4-hour, but also the daily, seeing that extra high above that significant trend line. If we can see a close above this, this would be very bullish.
Very good.
But if you want to switch to my screen really quick, I want to talk about the overall trend of NFP. You know, we talked earlier that there was a starch decline over time with these periodic spikes, but what we are seeing over the past year or so is a steady decline in jobs, which is, you know, what the Fed wanted at first. So seeing this like coupled with lower inflation is, I think, a really good sign. So these, every time we see a giant pop in jobs, it's just not enough. It's just overall still a steady decline. This is the lowest we've seen since, I mean, this is March 22. So here in November, we're at far less. It started at like 600 something K a month.
And Frank, think about this. If you're the Fed right now, and this is, you know, my impression of it, look at that chart that you've got on the screen and you say, okay, jobs are slowing. Inflation is slowing. The trends are in that direction. Not only do I think that they're probably appeased by that, they're probably just a tad bit nervous that all of this interest rate hike stuff that they've done, they don't want to break anything. So they're sitting there and like, okay, now the yields market has done some work and jobs are slowing. The not recession, but the economy seems to be cooling. The Fed is probably, in my opinion, going to start to, for the time being, take a back seat. They're not going to be so important to the market right now because now it seems that consensus is shifting that the Fed, as this big thumb on the fun, is not really as pressing right now. I mean, they're not necessarily, you know, threatening rate hikes anymore. And that gives, as you've got pulled up here, the yield potentially chance to fall lower. And it gives stocks. And by the way, gold bulls, same thing. It gives some runway to some of these other assets to have bigger moves. And I want to come right back to your chart here on the 2-year, Frank. One thing I will say for gold traders, we made this point. I did not think we would get here so fast, but if we break through this level on gold, again, I think you have to start asking yourself, has this been the move that I thought would happen much sooner than this? I mean, Frank, you've seen me kind of be on the wrong side of this thought process for a while. I thought that the rate cut conversation would happen a lot sooner. And the rate cut conversation has been and still is my thesis for being super bullish on gold too. Because if that starts to happen, and you get a dollar that really weakens and gives some other opportunities for the euro to rise, for gold to rise, the pound to rise. We'll have to watch for that. But again, technicals, guys, watch for the breakout on that 2006 level. Frank, you've got the 2-year yield pulled up. What were you going to say about that?
I just wanted to mention how it broke underneath the trend line, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing the dollar is doing the same, just dollar weakness overall.
Yep.
And my thesis on gold, I took a very small short trade while being long S&P just to see if we'd see more power in the indices and less optimism in the gold market. But after seeing this today, I
Yeah.
think I'm probably going to close out, and I might even look for longs now, just because we've seen this tremendous rise to the upside, breaking two very significant levels, prices back over 2,000. This could be a chance to see gold back up here in the 240s to 2050s or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
So
Frank, I've got to also point your attention, and anybody who else is interested in the indices, lesser known than, of course, the big three is, of course, the Russell as well. And Frank and I both are long the Russell. Again, another one that I've been early on, but it's coming back firing on all cylinders, leading the charge. Yesterday, and it seems today as well. We've got the Russell. These are small caps, right? These are smaller companies, and of course, more susceptible to interest rate concerns. Well, again, what we're seeing immediately coming into play is we're seeing, as Frank pointed out, you've got yields breaking out lower. I mean, here's the dollar index, guys. We talked about this pre-NFP, and this is exactly what we talked about. We talked about the idea that if you get a cool print, or if you get a slowing wage growth, the dollar story is losing its edge, it seems like. And this is not something that I can justify being bullish on, despite, I had some bullish trades in the past few weeks. So I don't want to say like, oh yeah, I knew this was coming, but something has changed here in the wind. You have a Fed that has backed off from its super hawkish narrative. Jerome Powell neglecting to take the opportunity to be hawkish on several occasions during his meeting. You combine that with the print that we're getting today. This does not look like an environment where the dollar looks incredibly strong for now. You just have too many fundamental factors at play. And again, it's kind of like the main driver for dollar bullishness for the last few years has been ramping up, drums being beaten on higher interest rates, higher for longer. And if we're losing that narrative, you start to really wonder, how low does this dollar go? It's had weeks upon weeks of bullishness. Is it time for the euro, the pound, the other ones to take their turn and kind of fight back a little bit? Are these things oversold? Euro traders, you might say that's overbought. Well, guys, this has been a beat down for the euro for weeks upon weeks. So is the euro primed for a breakout here to move higher? Frank, what do you think about the euro?
I think that the dollar reign is just about over. We're going to see, in my opinion, we're going to see higher GU, higher EU. Everything risk on is likely to just keep going.
Yeah.
And, like you said, the Fed had all these chances to remain hawkish, but what they've been doing is trying to preserve the economy as well. So seeing how we, the US, and then Europe, UK, Canada is all doing the same thing of just holding rates, because a lot of us can't really afford another hike because it will likely cause a pretty bad recession. But US is a little different. I feel like they can hike more, but the fact that we were expecting one in this fourth quarter and we didn't get one is pretty pretty dovish in my opinion. I mean, we're still open to rate hikes, but overall, I don't think if we see another rate hike, it's likely going to be our last. And that's this is just, I guess, foreshadowing. These moves are foreshadowing that, we don't really care about another 25 basis point hike.
Yep. And Frank, I want to jump in there too and just kind of point out something. Some people in the audience might have wondered what we were talking about. So somebody says they don't understand what we're talking about. This is what we do is we combine fundamentals and technicals here. Frank and I, as I mentioned earlier, transparently, we've been a little bit early to our idea about this, but we've both been somewhat in the camp that the dollar move has been a little bit overdone, as well as, more importantly, specifically, that the Fed narrative here seems to be losing its edge. And when we take a look at, for example, the S&P 500, some of the factors that we pay attention to, we combine, like I said, technicals and fundamentals. We're getting a score of +9 on the Edgefinder right now. COT was early this week. Now, granted, to be completely fair, the COT report data, as Frank and I have been looking at for the last few weeks very closely, has been really early on the S&P 500 situation as well. They've been buying indices for the last few weeks, and now it's starting to pop. So it almost makes you wonder, did they have some foresight to perhaps be long indices? But COT data, we'll go over that in just a second. Retail sentiment, crowd is starting to short the indices. Seasonality, huge, right? We're entering into the best period of the year historically for the indices. We got a nice breakout uptrend going on. The economy's holding in there. Inflation, we'll get the inflation numbers pretty soon as well. And the labor market is not necessarily working against the indices with the Fed. So all things considered, I really stand by the S&P 500 bullish position. Again, I am positioned there myself. I know Frank is as well. We have Russell and S&P 500 positions, both of us do. So, all of that to be said, this number was what the bulls needed. This was exactly to follow the Fed meeting on Wednesday. It was perfect for this week.
Yeah, everything we've seen across the board today is what we want to see as index bulls. But something else I wanted to talk about, something I usually don't, is in the crypto market. I got Bitcoin pulled up on my screen.
So Bitcoin action.
So it's kind of somewhat similar to the indices. You have, a high interest rate market, or market was keeping everything under pressure. And now we're looking at extended highs here and just crazy moves to the upside, moving with the S&P and the NAS. But here we're at this top of the channel. So it's tough to kind of say, maybe we're going to keep going higher here. Because if this candle closes like that, that just looks like a couple of weeks of coming back down. But I would say in this range is a pretty tradable range. And if we can watch to see a breakout too, a lot of analysts are talking about 36,000 was the highest point, and that's where the resistance is. But I'm just saying, if we get a breakout in this channel too, target for the next level of resistance is much higher. So if
also, Frank, to add to the Bitcoin concept, I mean, Bitcoin along, indices, et cetera, they're risk assets. So could be perhaps positively impacted by that. Frank, I don't mean to cut you off short, but we do have Kenzo joining us here in a second. So I'll say goodbye to you. Thank you for coming on to the stream here for a bit. We might see you back in just a bit, but we'll catch up with you later, Frank.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, see ya. Guys, we're going to bring in Kenzo here in just a second, but I do want to make a quick announcement. Chandler, on the producer side, we didn't talk about this just yet, but we have the flash sale thing that we're doing here, and it's kind of a secret NFP stream. Are we good to do that, Chandler? I shot a message on Discord. I don't know if you saw it, but we've got a little bit of a special promo roll. I think it's good to go, but I am not fully sure. But again, guys, we're going to bring in Kenzo in just a second. But before we do, I've got a cool announcement. We've obviously started in November, our Black Friday sale, which if you're somebody who has been thinking about getting access to our smart money tracker, access to any of our data, our trade alerts, we're a software company out of Atlanta, Georgia. We build tools for traders. And if you're somebody who's watched the stream for a long time, here's a cool announcement for you. For Black Friday this year, we are doing 45% off for stream viewers. And if you message in right now, we've got a link that we're going to drop in the chat. If you message in, you'll get access to the biggest sale of the entire year. If you'd like to join our Discord for our trade signals, if you'd like to get in our coaching webinars that Ivan does, Frank and I share all of our trades in Discord. And we also have of course, our software tools. And if you're already an Edgefinder user, you can also pick up the Edgefinder Smart Alerts for 45% off before the price goes back up. Again, this is our Black Friday sale. We're doing it early this month or this year so that we can give people a chance to pick it up anytime this month. So if that would be something interested to you, we will get something here going for you. Okay, no worries, Chandler. I saw your message. Okay, so in that case, we're going to just drop that link again. If you'd like access to the flash sale, again, 45% off if you message us here during the stream. And I'll show you what that looks like here on the, well, let me see. I got to pull up Chrome for this. In terms of the talk to, so this is our live chat. When you message in, this is what it'll look like. So you click that link. It's just been dropped in the chat. Click chat now. And if you click the Black Friday sale, 45% off the Edgefinder or VIP Discord. It's practically half the usual price for Black Friday. So again, while we're here live, if you message, you'll get that 45% off. And also, if you click this, if you're already an Edgefinder user, just ask about the Edgefinder Smart Alerts and we'll get you hooked up with the new alert system that we just finished building here in November. It is now available for Edgefinder users. Pick it up by messaging us. We'll get you that 45% off. With that said, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back to Kenzo here in just a moment to talk more setups and fundamentally what this means for the dollar index, for S&P, so on and so forth. So coming right back with Kenzo just after this. Frank, are you really trading right now? We are literally traveling through space.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to 8cap, I can trade at any time and anywhere, even in space. And I get a free Edgefinder with it too.
That's pretty cool, but honestly, there are so many other brokers that I think are better.
That's it.
I'm ejecting you.
All right, Frank, let me back in. Come on. I'll sign up for 8cap, I promise.
Don't get lost in space. Trade with 8cap. If you'd like more information about how you can get a free Edgefinder, click the link that's in the chat or description to speak with one of our representatives and sign up with 8cap. There's some great free perks available. Check it out down below.
Frank!
All right, and we are back with Kenzo. It has been not too long since we last spoke, my friend. It's good to have you back on.
Yes, I think everything is okay. Yeah, I'm doing great actually.
Good to have you back. And again, for what has turned out to be, my goodness, Kenzo, what a blast of a week in terms of indices, in terms of gold, in terms of the dollar. I mean, for people who are watching the dollar index right now, the dollar index is falling out of favor as we speak. This consolidation period that we've discussed, Kenzo, I thought, to be completely honest, that we'd stay in this range, but this number today, it's hard to fight what we're looking at. We've got cooler numbers across the labor market. What's your opinion on all this? Do you have any trades on, and anything changed from our last time we've talked?
No, on my side, actually, I thought maybe the numbers were going to go a little bit higher, but they actually went lower. So fortunately, I did not really have trades because if you still remember, on NASDAQ, we were still actually on a buy since Wednesday. Since Wednesday, we were actually on a buy. So there was nothing much we can add on NASDAQ. So, but I thought maybe the market was going to reach our resistance maybe before we see a nice sell, and that maybe might happen because the numbers, they might be good, which is actually something which is very, very good. Maybe that will actually send a nice signal to FOMC not to increase, or maybe just to pause with the interest rates as they did a few days ago.
Yeah, no, and that's probably a good point to make. Is you're looking at the NASDAQ right now. You're looking at a lot of these moves. And a lot of people are kind of starting to bet that they're overextended, that they're starting to get. But I like the way that you've drawn that channel because, again, it gives the NASDAQ room in that to continue a little bit, right? Because we've seen this week if you're a fundamentalist, this was a smash hit win for kind of risk on sentiment. If you're watching the NASDAQ, and some people might be wondering, well, why isn't gold moving more out of all of this? Well, you kind of do have to think, what gold has that stocks don't have, right? Gold can move much
Exactly.
higher, much faster on geopolitical concerns, right? But risk on sentiment is not necessarily a huge driver for gold. That's why we're not really seeing the love for gold with all of this, stuff. However, the dollar weakness today perhaps bring into question, can this dollar move higher? And Kenzo, you and I in recent streams together have discussed the possibility that gold just keeps on running. And I personally am
Yes.
in the camp of thinking, if this level breaks, right, that we could just continue to see gold pressure to the upside, especially if that dollar is going to start falling apart here, as it does seem like some of that story, that super hawkish Fed, is losing its edge. That's what the theme of today's stream has been: is the dollar losing its number one bullish driver, which is, of course, right now, a hawkish Fed that's threatening to raise rates. If that's no longer in the picture, what happens to gold? What happens to euro? What happens to the pound? What do you think in terms of that?
For gold, for now, I think it's actually a good buy, even though actually it's a bit higher. But I think it's actually a good thing. Plus, adding that NFP just went a bit lower. And as we know, I don't think maybe they're going to increase the rates on the coming meeting. Even though they said they still want to push it very low, I don't think they're going to push that much. So that is actually a good thing for gold. So remember, the inflation is still very high. And the only reason why we see gold, actually the dollar pushing up, is because of interest rates. That's the only reason currently. And that is actually not good as a safe haven. It's good, it's stronger, but it's not really as a good asset to invest in currently. For now, as we see all over the place, there is geopolitical news. I think gold can still push a little bit higher. I just don't know where it is going to stop, but I think we might still see gold still pushing higher. Unfortunately, this time is quite different to mostly they were not correlating very nice with other markets like DXY. Now at least they go hand they actually opposite each other, which is actually a good thing, because before they were just going in the same direction. Now it shows that at least there is something happening, and if it keeps pushing lower, that's actually good for gold. We might see gold pushing up, but for the market, it's also a bit of a change there. We have Apple is not performing very well, or other companies they're not performing very well. That it's also a different story. I think we will see a sell actually on the index market maybe next week, after this heat wave of Nasdaq cools down. Next week we might see maybe a continuation of a sell, as we are actually on the downtrends on those markets.
Sure. Yeah. And as you said that, Kenzo, I was just looking at my S&P position, and I went ahead and just trailed my stop. I caught this. I think you said you caught Wednesday as well, which congratulations to yourself as well. With this, I mean, that's been a monster move.
Yes,
Frank and I
yes.
both bought indices, so it's nice to hear we're all in the same camp. And Kenzo, we were talking about this earlier for the fellow indices traders. Frank and I, myself especially, got it really wrong on the initial push that the indices would get. But what I want to reiterate is that when you're a trend follower, especially in the nature of the way Frank and I tend to trade, which is trailing stops and that sort of thing, it's not about, having a couple losses. It's all about, if you have those couple losses, but then you find the right trade can make all of the difference. So for me, I generally think that the indices have turned a new leaf, that there's potentially room to run into the end of the year with that seasonality, which we've discussed. And I also want to give credit to yourself, Kenzo. I mean, we both talked about this earlier in the week, how we generally were bullish on indices, and it's nice to see it play out well for us. So again, all it takes really, it's finding that one good move in the market and really making it count. So you mentioned you have NASDAQ. Do you have any open trades on gold? And for the gold traders out there, what would get you to take a trade on gold?
Actually, on gold, I did not really want to risk. I just thought maybe NFP it was going to be actually positive because we are very close to summer, and I thought maybe the job they're going to go a little bit higher, and that did not really happen. So I did not really take a trade because that was actually the issue. But since now the numbers are very good, or they are very cool, I will just wait maybe for it to retest a little bit before I push the upside. Or if maybe the market breaks this resistance here, then I will wait maybe for a nice retest, then I can continue. But beside that, I'm not actually in a hurry for gold. So I'm just actually I'm actually cashing out on what I took like a few days ago on Nasdaq. It pushed very nice, you see.
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of one of those things. We did the work, we did the prep this week. You and I spoke at length about our bullishness on the indices, and it's one of those things. As traders, the cool thing is that sometimes you can just put in that work, you can do that prep work, and then you can reap the rewards and just manage trades. And that's kind of where I'm at with the rest of this week. I don't see myself taking a bunch of trades here on a Friday when we've called the correct move. And when you call a correct move, it's very, very important that you essentially manage your trade properly. Speaking of which, while we're speaking, Kenzo, I've just pulled up my trade alert on this. This is my S&P trade. I'm just for those of you guys who are within the Discord that we offer, I am going to be just updating my position here as we speak. So if you're not already in there, there will be a link in the chat right now. Again, I mentioned our Black Friday sale that's going on. If you want to join for the updates that are available there, you can do so clicking that link. And in a second, I think, Kenzo, we're going to let you take over the stream for a little bit like the good old days, which I'm really excited to listen to your conversation. Give myself a little bit of a break, and I know you were in good hands with you going through the fundamentals. So last thing I'll say here, we'll leave it with Kenzo here. We're going to run just a quick thing. We did in fact find the space themed thing that we're about to roll, which is really exciting. So stick around for that. And then afterwards, Kenzo's going to do some fundamental and technical analysis for you guys and get us a little bit closer as we run into PMIs. So don't go anywhere. The stream is picking back up here as we get ready for PMIs in 1 hour from now. Again, Black Friday sale, like I said, the link is in the chat. I'm going to be just updating my position for members inside of the Discord VIP group. And so we'll run this quick thing, and then Kenzo, you're off to the races, and I'll see you back later. All right.
Okay, that's
All right,
great.
Greg, I'm getting a reading here.
Coming out of hyperspace.
Looks like there's a strange moon up ahead.
That's no moon. That's the Edgefinder.
Okay, that's great, guys. So let's actually go on the market and see what we can get actually. So the best thing that we can do is to check DXY. As a few minutes ago, we actually had NFP. So the first thing that we can check is actually our DXY, just to understand what is really happening on DXY. So what I see here is, since the NFP, it was quite stronger, we can easily see that we had a support area which was broken. So which shows us that, you know what, the dollar is getting strong. It's getting a little bit weaker as we were actually on an uptrend. So the question is, will this breakout continue as the dollar is losing that strength? That will actually depend on the market. We'll have to wait and see. Remember, I think around 4 we also have some economic news, so that might change everything, obviously. So, but I don't really think this bullish momentum will just disappear only because of NFP. Yes, we might see some sell-offs here and there, but the dollar is quite stronger. Remember, this was just an NFP. I don't think maybe that will hold longer, but yes, I might be wrong. So what I see here is on this level here where we are actually on a dollar index, we also have a horizontal structure, which we can call that a support. You can see that. So if the market goes below that and continue, let's say maybe 2 candlesticks go below this area, we can say yes, that is a continuation of this downtrend. But it's still very new. The market can reverse very quick, especially as I said, there is actually some economic news around 4 or let's say in 1 hour. So for now, when you see something like this, when you see a longer candlestick like this, it shows that the dollar is very, very, very weak. So which means most of the pairs which are going with the dollar, they're going to perform very well for now. But we will see that maybe in 3 hours, if maybe we won't see a reversal. And if you trade the news, maybe mostly we might see a spike few hours after the market will try to recover that, and that might actually happen. So on GBP, JPY, this week we never had enough of economic news from GBP, JPY. So what I see here is the market is still breaking out the resistance that we had. The market was going very nice, actually. It was pushing to the lower side. Now what I see here is the market just broke out. And it seems like the market is trying to do it. The market is trying to retest there and push to the upside. That's what I see. But actually now I'm interested in the pairs that goes with the dollar because we will see how the market performs from there. So like you can see here, we have GBP USD. The market was giving us some very nice downtrend. The market was downtrending. I think my mouse, the battery, I think is dead. Come on. Okay. I think the battery is gone. Okay, it's fine. So what I see here is we can easily see that, yes, the market was actually on a very nice downtrend, but it seems like the market is trying to do what? To break out of that. So the question is, will the market actually hold this bullish momentum and push the upside? Yes, it's possible, but since everything is still very hot, there is a possibility for the market to reverse. But I like the fact that we had a resistance, and it seems like the market will be trying to do it. The market will be trying to push the upside. And the structure here, it was quite straightforward. We had a nice resistance. On the bottom side, it was actually a nice support. So which means the market was now actually giving us a wedge structure. And it seems like now the market is getting out. So we rather wait for the market maybe to give us a proper retest before we jump on that buy. Because remember, there's no point to just jump on the market as the trends can last longer. So if we wait for a retest, we can still hold this trend for quite some time. The market can still move for a very long time. So there is no point for us just to hurry. So let's push to the next one. Let's push to the next one. Let's push to the next one. Let's push the next one, which is actually EURUSD. I'm trying to check your comments, guys. Okay, it's fine. So what I see here is we are actually on EURUSD. The market was actually on a very nice downtrend. We had a very nice resistance there. Since we had this NFP, we can see that the market actually just broke out of this resistance. Now we're no longer on this downtrend. So which means we might still see the market pushing to the upside. But the best way, or the best thing that we can do, is better to wait for a proper retest here before we jump on that market, because the market can just reverse and continue with this downtrend. Remember, NFP mostly doesn't really continue. NFP event, we might have a spike, but few hours or few minutes later, the market might reverse and recover this move very quick. But it seems like now today things are a bit slower. We will see later on what will happen. But the best way is to wait for a nice retest. If not, maybe the market will continue pushing lower. And the fortunate part is we don't really have any economic news from Europe. So it means we're going to wait for actually, I think it's PMI later on actually for US PMI. Actually, let's say in 54 minutes. So now we are actually on gold. Gold is actually flying where we are. Gold it's actually flying, but we understand the news were actually bad. So what we see here is the market is trying to actually create an uptrend. You can see there we have a very nice support area, but on top here we also have an area that we can use as a resistance. So if the market breaks that resistance, I will say yes, it's time for us to actually look for a continuation of the trend, because what we see here is there is a possibility for the market to reverse here and go back on this support area. But if it breaks, it means we will be ready to continue with this bullish momentum. I hope you see that. We will be ready to continue. But I think even if maybe we had NFP, I think the spikes were not really that crazy. I think the spikes were not really that crazy. Let me see. So I just tuned in now. What did Nick become? What? Okay. So let's push to the next one. Let's push to the next one, which is actually US30. So we've been actually on US30 for the whole week, and it seems like the market is actually pushing towards our resistance area. So what I see here is there is a chance that the market can break that. There is a chance that the market can break that. If not, maybe the market will be respecting our actually downtrend, and we can continue with that downtrend actually. But what I see here is it seems like the market is still, the dollar is still a bit weaker. Maybe we might see the market trying to push to the upside, you see. But the fact is, since we have a stronger resistance, we just have to actually wait for the market, and maybe the market will respect this area. Then we will be ready to continue with our sell positions, you see. So yeah, that I think might be a very good thing, as the market is already very high. It's just us waiting for the market, but let's just wait for the news first before we try to actually jump on the market. So let's push to the next one again, which is actually NASDAQ. Let's see what's really happening on NASDAQ. NASDAQ is also actually pushing to the upside, but since we had NFP, it did not really push that much. It did not really push that much. So what I see here is the market is still continuing with actually that that downtrend. Unless if the market breaks this area, then we can change and say, okay, maybe now the market is about to do what, to push the upside. But for now, let's wait for the market to go towards our resistance first before we look for any sell position. But for now, I think we just have to wait, because the market is already higher, so we can actually buy or sell. So we just have to wait. Let me check your comments. Let me see, and can almost guarantee you will not see that show his face. Let me see. We have AUD USD. Let me check the comments, guys. Any need for the racism? No, guys, it's fine. I see this guys. You know. In the market, let's say actually not in the market, people, they can say so many things, especially online. But it's different with other people, because to us it doesn't really matter that much. We just working, guys. If maybe you're gonna come here and do some stuff and say, oh, Nick is changed, is black, that is not really good, but it's not really that bad the way you think. Maybe you're trying to make it. As long as I make something, that's much better. So I hope everyone is doing great, guys. Don't get confused, or don't get actually out of the point, like I see the other guy there. So anyway, it's fine, guys. Don't worry about that. It's fine with me. There's nothing much the guy can say. So now we are actually on AUD USD. What's really happening? The market was actually on a very nice downtrend. I think that push is very enough. Maybe the market will push lower and try to create a nice retest, but it seems like the dollar is now flying. Sorry, not the dollar. AUD is now pushing to the upside. You see, I am expecting maybe a nice retest on AUD, maybe before we see a nice push. So, but for now, I think we just have to stay out of the market. But on this one, if we check on our left-hand side, I think we also have an area. Do you see this area? This area might be something. This area might be something. Let's check that. Let's try to check that. This might be something. So we don't really have to forget, act like we don't really see that. So if maybe you are actually on AUD/USD, yes, the market is actually on a very nice downtrend. But since the market is breaking out, we also have to actually look at these areas. And if maybe the market gets out of that, yes, we can just say, okay, let's continue with our breakout. The market is now pushing to the upside. But if not, there is a chance that the market can respect that and actually push to the lowest side. So I don't know if maybe there's any other comments that I need to check. Let's check that very quick. Let's see. I don't really see the GBP, please. I think GBP USD, I did that. Okay, let me just go on GBP USD because I think someone actually need that again. Then we can call it a day. Let's go straight to that. So on GBP USD, you can easily see that, yes, we actually had a very nice downtrend. The market was downtrending very nice. So what I see here is you can see that since we had actually NFP, we can easily see that the market is doing what? The market is trying to get out of this trend. We have a diagonal structure there. Actually, it's our resistance. Then the market just broke out. But the question is, will the market actually continue to push the upside? We will see. So the best thing here is to be patient and wait for the market to show you a proper move, because where we are now, there is no point for us just to jump on the market. We can see that now the market just broke out, but there is a chance that the market can reverse aggressively. So, and if you are in very early, you might actually suffer that, or you can actually lose a lot. So the best way is to mark this area. You can see this is our previous area, and we actually have another one here. So we can actually add that and say if the market goes beyond that area, then we can say now we can see a proper bullish momentum. So there's no point jumping on the market early because you might end up losing very quick. So I think for today, that is actually enough. That is actually enough. We will catch up actually next week. I think we will catch up actually next week. Where's Kenzo Springbok shirt? Man, I just changed it. I've been wearing it for quite some time, but thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. So since they're not back, let me just jump straight on the other one. Maybe let's jump straight to USDJPY. Let's go straight to USDJPY.
Oh, sorry about that, Kenzo. Keep going.
Oh, okay, it's fine. It's fine. Let me go on USDJPY. I see there's people who actually want USDJPY. So on USDJPY, we had actually a very nice resistance. Let's go on a daily time frame because I think the move were very, very, very big here. So let's see. So on USDJPY, the market was like seriously overbought. If we go back, you can see that we actually reached an area that we can call a resistance, and it seems like the market is trying to respect that. So when we change the time frame, it seems like the market will be trying to reverse. It seems like the market is trying to reverse. Let's do that. My mouse, actually, the batteries died, so I'm just using the trackpad. So the market actually tried to break that area, but it seems like it was a sort of a fake breakout. Now the market is actually coming back on this structure, actually on respecting this resistance. So I can't say it's a downtrend. No, it's just the highest area where the market is just respecting as we come in from actually a nice bullish momentum. But we had a sell, I think it was yesterday, but the market actually was just playing around that level. So I think since the dollar is not really that stronger, maybe we might see another continuation of a sell. That is possible. but I can't guarantee that because mostly the moves of NFP, they don't really last longer like interest rates and CPI. So anything can change. The market might push up again, but we are actually on a very strong resistance. Anything can happen from that.
It's a
So,
great breakdown
thanks.
there on the dollar yen. I want to say a lot of people have been asking about the dollar yen, so I'm glad that you ran through that just there. And again, also as you mentioned, the 150 level completely, I thought it was going to break out. But again, with the shift in dollar, it just shows how strong fundamentals can change the picture of everything. So again, you mentioned this longer term resistance. And as this weekly candle starts shaping up with this long wick on top, I mean, it is Friday. So that's concerning, right? That's a long wick on the top in what is considered
Exactly.
a longer term barrier to price. And so, it starts wondering the question, if there's truly a change in the wind from the Fed, dollar yen could drop a lot further than people might think. So be very careful with dollar yen. I've been on the sidelines with this pair for a little while. And Kenzo, thank you for breaking that down. And also, Kenzo, thanks for jumping in there for a few minutes and giving us some further breakdown. I definitely enjoyed that, listening to your comments. And I want to say, for anybody else who did, if you enjoyed spending some time with Kenzo right there, we've got his channel here linked in the chat. If you click this link, you'll be able to go subscribe to Kenzo on YouTube. So there it is, his YouTube channel, Extra Hot Forex. And with that said, Kenzo, I want to thank you for coming on to the show and for walking us through, getting us a little closer as we approach PMI numbers.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And thanks for your viewers, man. It's been really a very great time, man.
Of course. Well, and Kenzo, they love having you on just like I do. So we appreciate you coming on, helping out with the A1 Trading Show as always. And again, guys, make sure to subscribe to Kenzo if you want more from him as well. Kenzo, we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
See ya. All right, guys, we're going to just do a really quick break, and then we're going to let James take over for a few minutes. He's going to run through what's happened here today so far, as well as help to prepare you guys for this PMI number that is right around the corner. So stick with me here. We'll be right back with James just after this.
When your trade goes to the moon with 8-cap, this is what it feels like.
3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? I've got a quick, oh my goodness, I've shared the wrong slide. I'm going to do it this way instead. So I'm going to take this away. I don't know why that was sharing the wrong slide there. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen instead. Let's see. Share screen. There we go. We're going to do it this way. Don't put this up yet, Chandler. Give me 1 second to do this. And there we go. All right. So it is not November 1st. I forgot to change that. It is November 3rd, but we're going to go over the news really quickly for what's going on kind of in the markets today. We're going to take a look ahead at next week and talk a little bit about the gold and the dollar markets, because they could not be trending in further opposite directions right now. So first up, what's ahead? We still have USD ISM services PMI forecasted to come out at 53. That is going to be at 10 a.m. So we're about 40 minutes away from that news drop. Do not go anywhere, because we will be covering that live. We're going to be watching the news drop, and then Nick is going to be doing analysis on the markets after the news. So it is forecasted to come out at 53, which would show expansion in the market, which is actually a good thing, and hopefully a good dollar report, because as we're going to see in just a little bit, and I'm sure that you guys know already, the dollar has been absolutely falling apart this past week, especially the past couple of days. So what's still ahead? This is our look ahead at next week. This is some of the most important stuff that's going to be happening next week. So on Monday, we're going to have Australian interest rates expected to raise 25 basis points up to 4.35%. On Wednesday, the Bank of England's Governor, Andrew Bailey, is going to have a press conference. And anytime the leader of a major central bank is speaking, that always has the potential to cause some volatility in the markets. Thursday, we have unemployment claims like usual. That's forecasted to come out at 210,000, which is slightly lower than our last report, as well as Jerome Powell, of course. He is going to be speaking as well. And again, anytime Chair Jerome Powell is speaking, the entire world is listening, and that is going to cause some volatility as well, I'm sure. And then finally, on Friday, we have UK GDP numbers expected to come out at 0%. Those are the monthly UK GDP numbers, 0%, as opposed to last month's 2% report. And for the US dollar, we're going to have preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers. So quick look ahead at what's going on next week. So what's happened? We had a lot happen today. So I grabbed this picture because we had so much stuff going on. We had Canadian unemployment numbers as well as U.S. unemployment numbers. Everything came out a little worse than expected. So this is what was forecasted, 3.8% with 178,000 employment change. You can see these big red numbers right here. We had a higher unemployment rate with less employment change. The hourly earnings went down as well. And then we saw pretty much the same thing for Canada as well. They had a higher than expected unemployment rate with less employment change than expected. So as we're going to see here in just a second, just in case you're just now joining us and you haven't seen what the dollar looks like, I have the dollar chart pulled up and it is pretty bad. But before we get to the dollar, let's talk a little bit about gold. So what's happening with gold right now? Gold has been skyrocketing, and you can see I've left my little cursor right here because this was when the conflict between Israel and Palestine, the most recent conflict started, was right around here. And since then, gold has absolutely skyrocketed because, as you may or may not know, things like gold and oil have a direct impact to things that's going on in the Middle East. So with all of this conflict happening, it's actually beneficial to the price of gold. So it's something, to kind of pay attention to what's going on over there in terms of markets, because it does have an impact on the markets. And the most recent news out of Israel and Palestine is that the Israeli military has actually entered into Gaza. So as you're probably aware, the Israeli military had been dropping bombs on Gaza. It was a very crazy situation. The whole thing is very crazy that's going on over there, and the military has now entered Gaza. So no end in sight over there. Certainly nothing good happening. But what we can see is the direct impact of it, and gold has absolutely been flying. And even off those most recent, this is the XAD USD chart. So we're looking at gold compared to the dollar. And based off of that unemployment news, which again was not very good for the dollar, you can actually see right there a huge spike on gold because of that news. Where in the contrary, if we take a look at the dollar, this is what we're seeing. The dollar has absolutely fallen apart due to news this week. We're looking at, this is the week right here. This is the dollar. And look at that massive bearish candle to the downside. That was our NFP report this morning caused that to happen. But even before then, the dollar has been trending down. It hasn't exactly been bullish for the dollar. It hasn't been too terrible up until this week, but this week it's absolutely fallen apart. You can see that any gains that it gets are immediately taken away. So not a very good week for the dollar. So that's what's happening this week, and a little brief look ahead to next week. Now we're going to shift gears just a little bit, and let me see in the comment section, if you were here on Wednesday for our super long stream, can you leave a message in the chat and then let me know if you were here on Wednesday for our long stream, because we have something fun that we did on Wednesday that we're about to do again. Let's see. Anybody here that was also here on Wednesday? Let's see. This person was here. Yep, you were here. Yep, all day stream. Yep, Mr. Hustle Harder. Yep, I remember you. Yep. Okay, now I'm seeing a lot of familiar names. All right. So, Mr. Hustle Harder, I know that you're going to like this. So, on Wednesday, we did 2 giveaways for an Edgefinder, and we're about to do the same thing again. So, I do, in fact, I'm going to pull it up. let's see. I've got the wheel, our good friend, the wheel. And I'm going to be putting names up on the wheel here. And all you have to do to get your name put on the wheel is ask a question about the Edgefinder. If you've been watching the stream, you know that we're doing our Black Friday sale. It's right now it's 50% off. We played that promo for 50% off the Edgefinder. So we're doing a super limited sale, 50% off the Edgefinder right now. If you message us right now, you're doing 50% off. And one lucky person in the chat watching right now is going to get the Edgefinder for free. If you get your name put on the wheel, spin it, and it lands on you, we're going to get in contact with you, and you are going to be our lucky winner getting the Edgefinder for free. And here's how you get your name on the wheel. Ask me a question in the comments right now about the Edgefinder, something that you want to know about the Edgefinder, something that you want to know about our VIP Discord, or something that you want to know about our brand new Edgefinder alerts. If you guys aren't aware, we now have Edgefinder alerts that can get sent directly to your phone. Check this out. So if I share this with you, Edgefinder alerts, it runs through our Discord, and you can get Edgefinder alerts sent directly to your phone. Our most recent one that came out, we had a new top setup alert. EURUSD moved from a -5 to a -7 because of the labor score. It went from a +1 to a -1. That was the NF, or no, that was not the NFP, but COT report alerts as well. We have COT that comes out weekly. If there's big changes in the COT, you can see that there. You're going to get an alert about that, as well as score flips. We can see our most recent score flips. We had Euro CHF move from a -1 to a -3, and the UK 100 a -1 to a -4. So if you want these alerts sent directly to your phone, you can do that. Those are on sale now as well. But yeah, let's see. So back to the Edgefinder. Let me see. So I'm going to start looking for these questions. So I'm going to scroll up to the top. I'm going to do my best to answer your question and then add your name to the board as well. So let me see. Can you get the signals by itself? Said David. David H. No, I believe that it is a bundle with the Edgefinder and the alerts. You have to get them both, I believe, but the Edgefinder alerts are definitely more helpful if you have the Edgefinder. I would say. But if you want to ask one of our team members about that, you can click the link in the chat too, and they can help you maybe get signals by itself if you really want to do that. Joel NG asked, what's the best feature on the Edgefinder? So Joel, in my opinion, the best feature on the Edgefinder is the Smart Money Tracker. And let me tell you why. Smart Money Tracker does a really, really cool thing. And this is actually kind of a recent change that we made to the Smart Money Tracker. And it's this net change percentage over here. I think this is really cool because it helps you see the shift in the data, kind of before it really happens. So I'm going to give the S&P as one really quick example, and then I'm going to move on. So S&P 500, if you look at the long and short percentages from the S&P 500, and just in case you're unfamiliar, Smart Money Tracker is looking at COT data. COT data comes in weekly from hedge funds and smart money guys and like big money traders. They have to release a report of what they're buying and selling, how many long and short contracts they have open. And that's actually super useful information to look at. So right now, those smart money guys are 50-50 long and short on the S&P 500. We can see how many long contracts and how many short contracts they have open. It's basically 50-50. But here's the interesting part. Since that latest data release, they have opened 57,000 new long contracts, and they have closed nearly 14,000 short contracts overall, resulting in a net change percentage of plus 7%. So is smart money shifting to the long side when it comes to the S&P 500 when the next COT report comes out? Is this no longer going to be 50-50 and then we're going to be heavily favored on the long side for the S&P? maybe, but you get that kind of inkling, you get that that look ahead, that smart money is opening long contracts on the S&P and they're closing their short contracts on the S&P. So is there a shift happening? It seems like it. Big net change percentage right there. So that's what I think is so cool about the Smart Money Tracker. And of course, you can see that for all of our assets that we have listed in the Edgefinder. So that I think is one of my favorite things. Oh, Cold J, can the Edgefinder be used on mobile? Yes, it can. Oh, Cold J. I'm gonna have to start. Oh, Chandler's here. Hey, Chandler.
Hello. I thought I'd just stop by and I don't know, pay my respects. I don't know.
Yeah, here. So, how about this? How about I'm gonna take a second to put down 3 or 4 names because it's kind of taken me a little while. So if you could answer a question or two, I'm gonna put a couple more names down, and then we'll keep moving from there.
Yeah. So I know you were about to talk about the Edgefinder being mobile. There is a mobile section of the Edgefinder. Not every tool in the Edgefinder will work, properly on mobile, but maybe someday. But we do have some vertical menus that you can look through. So there are some helpful tools that you can have on your phone. And speaking of having things on your phone, the thing that James was showing y'all, the old Edgefinder alerts. That's really cool. I've been getting them on my phone, so I know they work. It's really convenient. I know somebody asked about having the alerts by themselves, but it's an add-on to the Edgefinder, so you kind of have to have the Edgefinder to go with it. But although I guess if you only had the alerts and you didn't have the Edgefinder, you'd be alerted to things that you don't have access to see. So
yeah, it works a lot better if you have the Edgefinder as well.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Let's see.
Find a question.
Kevin right here asked, would it be possible to get a gold scanner for the Edgefinder? Hey, Kevin, guess what? We have a gold scanner. It's right here. Check it out. Boom, gold scanner.
I don't think you can get that separately. I think it comes with the full package, if that's what you mean. But
oh, like a separate, like only a gold scanner?
Just a gold scanner. Who knows? I wouldn't rule out anything. I don't know what the futures are for the product in terms of possible customization like that, but as of right now, it comes with the full package. Plus, I mean, that's not such a bad thing. If you only trade gold and you get it for the gold thing, you get everything else too. So, that's not such a bad gig, especially now, which I'll drop a link because everything's half off right now for the whole month. Well, 45 most of the time. You never know when you'll change it up.
Zahetet, I hope I said that right. It says, how often does the Edgefinder update the signals? So we don't really classify them as signals. It's more of like a market bias. This is kind of, based on all the information that we're pulling in. This is the bias that we give out. You can see that here. We do not suggest that you just blindly copy anything because markets are crazy and we can do our best to try and predict the direction that they're going, with the most educated and the most, information that we have. But in terms of how often is it updated, this is our update log right here, which is actually, I think, is a very cool thing because you can see not only the latest updates that happen, but you can see how often things are getting updated. So, for example, seasonality gets updated every 24 hours. We have retail sentiment that gets updated every 30 minutes. Price quotes and market heat map every 15. Interest rates get updated daily. The economic information gets updated on the hour. COT data checks weekly. It checks it every 12 hours, but COT data comes out weekly, just in case there happens to be a change. Does it come out on Friday? I think it comes out on Mondays.
Oh, is it Monday? Okay.
I think Nick and Frank usually do their COT segment on Mondays, and then bank signals weekly as well. So all of this data, most of the data is getting updated. If there's a change, there has to be a change in the data for it to get updated, but it's checking for it multiple times a day, even up to 15, for example, for price. the price is getting updated every 15 minutes, so you get a very accurate price, with the market heat map and all that. So it really is. It's searching all day and pulling in new information all day long. So let's see. I'm going to put your name on the board. And remember, guys, do not go anywhere. If you are asking questions, I'm putting as many names on the board as I can. And then as soon as I'm done putting names on the board, I'm spinning it and somebody's getting an Edgefinder. So don't go anywhere. We had that issue on Wednesday. I spun the wheel 2 times in a row, and that both of those people had left, so they couldn't get the Edgefinder for free.
Right. I was going to answer this question. Is there a complete video tutorial on the Edgefinder? And there is, because James made a whole series about it.
Yes.
There's a whole playlist on the
There
A1
should be a
channel.
whole playlist on the A1 Trading YouTube channel.
Yep. And he goes through each and every tool. It explains how they work. It's very well done. And yeah, on the Trader Nick channel, when we posted the announcement for the alerts, there's a segment in that video that explains how the alerts work as well, if you need help with that. Since there are 3 different categories of alerts that you can get, that video explains what each type of alert does and what it shows you.
B. Vaughn asks, will the Edgefinder be partnering with TradingView in the future? I hope so. That would be great.
One can only hope.
It's cool. You cannot. I don't know how that would work, because the Edgefinder is a tool to help you find better trading setups, and also if you need any sort of COT, retail, seasonality, economic data, it's all there for you, so it can help you not only find better trading setups but give you more confidence in your trading. You can't actually trade on the Edgefinder, so I don't know how that would work, but that would be cool.
It would be pretty cool. Maybe like add a new tab that you can just open it up.
And guys, right now, I'm just going to say it one more time really quickly. Right now, while the stream is going, it's 50% off. So you have to message us in right now if you want the Edgefinder for half off. It's half off the normal price. I mean, you have to do it like now. You can at least, get that conversation going with one of our team members. I'm doing I've got about half the board filled here. I'm going to write a few more names down, and then we're going to spin the wheel. So let's see. Let's see. What's a question I can answer really quickly? So this person, I already have your name on the wheel, but I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. Can you use it as confluence in trading? Confluence is a big word that I think I know what it means. And if you're asking if you use it like intertwine with like your trading strategy, yes. So for example, Nick and Frank both use the Edgefinder every single day with their trading. They use it to find trading setups. So for example, a great thing about the alerts for the Edgefinder is if something jumps a few points from, for example, from like a bullish to a very bullish, like yesterday, the S&P exploded, and a alert went out that the S&P had gone from I believe it was a +4 to a +8 score. You can see it's even higher at a +9 now, but that went from a bullish to a very bullish alert, and the S&P just absolutely flew. So you can get things like that to move into your trading strategy. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm going as fast as I can. I promise we're about to spin the wheel in a second.
Yeah. Someone's asking Theo Van Ruyen. I don't know if you have him on there. He's asking what data feeds into the Edgefinder, and we have actually a tab on the Edgefinder that kind of shows you what our sources are. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's collected and balled up together and then splatted onto the Edgefinder. So it takes a bunch of things. I know one of them's I think Yahoo Finances is on there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the COT data itself, I've seen the page. It looks like a fax. It's really bad. It takes all of that and puts it into a very easy to use format, easy to read format. Even for me, I don't really know how to trade that well. I did it for the competition, and I used the Edgefinder, and the Edgefinder surprisingly was very, easy for me to figure out. I didn't do so hot in the trading competition because the Edgefinder doesn't give signals.
Nick is here. He's being hidden by a comment.
I'm like creeping behind that comment there.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I also wanted to jump in on that question in terms of data that comes in on the Edgefinder. We have like a ton of sources. We have a whole. There's like on the software side of things. There's like a whole like data collection algorithm that we have built that goes out and shoots out and pulls data from many sites. One of the biggest utilities by itself from the Edgefinder, if you're somebody who is looking for more market data, is the idea that you don't have to go dig up all this data by yourself. The idea is like, if first it's a data collection software, that's like its first utility. Then the second utility, somebody asked, does the Edgefinder analyze news and its impact and then update the bias? And Viper, that is the exact point of what the Edgefinder does. It pulls in economic data. So for example, NFP just came out, right? Right now, the Edgefinder is crunching that data into its algorithm and then shooting out an output of where the newly reflected bias is. So I'll give you the information. Of course, we had jobs numbers come in, and it has to take into consideration, what was that jobs change data going to do to our bias on the dollar? What about our bias on indices and gold? So the whole point of the algorithm, the other side, is once we have all that data pulled into one system, we then have to have the algorithm think about it. And that's where the AI concept comes in, where it is, again, it's artificial intelligence. It's taking heuristically all these things that we do as humans and thinking through them and then giving us what we get on the top setups page. I'll show you guys my screen just for a second while we're on that topic, just to show you these are the current readings, the very bullish and very bearish readings of the Edgefinder. The point is, you've got all these assets, the Nikkei, the S&P, the German 30, the bond market, all these things. We are getting biases, and now we've narrowed our scope here. You can see some of the dollar pairs falling off the list as, again, with the newly updated data, all automated, just like Frank and I were talking about earlier on the stream, how like the dollar bias might be shifting. Look at this. The Edgefinder is losing that bias where it was bullish on dollar pairs. It's changing directions with the new data. So it is very, very cool. It's something that Frank and I have worked on for about a year and a half. And with the help of these guys and everybody else on our team, we've brought it to life, make it user friendly and all that good stuff. So sorry to jump in, but that was a good question. I wanted to try and see if I could help.
Y'all are goofy spamming the exact same question over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because I think every person that's been spamming 100 times your question, I think your name's already on the board. But speaking of the wheel, I'm ready to spin the wheel.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Mole says, dude, every comment is spamming like 500 times. It is. Guys, wheel's done, so you can stop spamming questions now. But yeah, let's give it a spin. And I think that we're going to be doing giveaways like pretty often during the month of November. We're definitely going to do it a few more times. K Mouse, I saw your comment. I actually highlighted your comment. Kaymous. I believe you were the one that asked about seasonality, if I remember correctly.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. K Mouse, nice. Seasonality. Congratulations, K Mouse. You are our winner. You need to click the link that is about to be dropped. Yep, there you are. Congratulations, you're our winner. You need to click that link and let them know that you are our giveaway winner. And we will get you hooked up with the Edgefinder for free.
Nice. Congratulations on that. And also, somebody also asked a good question I just wanted to answer really quick. What category of the Edgefinder do you place most emphasis on? So finally, on the algorithm side, all of these pieces of information that, again, as Chandler pointed out, we have a sheet that shows you all the different sources, the logs, the data pulls. Once we have all that data and the system is interpreting it, we have analyzed which things we want to weight more or less. So for example, seasonality, can give, each of these has a score range that they can do. So we pay a lot of attention. COT is pretty important to the algorithm. So it can go +3 to -3. So that can have a lot of impact. Trend can go +2 to -2, the economic statistics. So each one of these has a range. And I know that there's a lot of data here, and it's a pretty complicated system to try and just pick up through a YouTube live stream. But I'm going to let these guys kind of take their break. We've got a winner announced. So thank you guys for doing that giveaway. And thanks everybody for some wonderful questions. I was reading them, and really cool just to see very thoughtful questions in the audience there. And like James said, we'll be doing more giveaways. So make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. And now I guess we'll transition. We've got about 15 minutes to prep for PMI numbers. So James Chandler, thank you guys. What were you going to say?
And really quickly, for anybody who is really interested in it, again, don't forget, it's 50% off right now. It's literally 50% off. So you can click one of those links, talk to one of our team members. It is 50% off. So if you didn't win today, there will be more opportunities in the future. So you got to keep watching the live streams to see if today is your lucky day. But if not, it's 50% off. So
there we go. Thanks, guys. We'll see you back later.
See you.
All right, guys, we are coming in. Final stretch here on the day. We have got the PMI numbers, and my goodness, the market does not want to quit. And it seems, I don't want to call it too soon, but it seems like this index run that we're seeing right now is shaping up to be what we like to call here at the office a story trade. It's one of those trades where if you do start getting a trade we're pretty close. We're pretty close to the territory. We're floating almost $9,000 on this single trade. It's starting to get close to story trade territory. What do I mean by that? If you're a regular viewer, you know what that means. Story trades are ones that are just so big on the trailing stop side of things, because that is the nature of the way Frank and I tend to trade. We look to trail stops. You get to a point where they start becoming memorable trades that you can tell the story later on. There was one, Chandler and I, we always think back. There was a time where he was editing this crazy video where we sold the euro and rode the trend down to parity. I mean, it was a massive, massive trade. Now, of course, there's plenty of periods of time where I'm losing money, where I'm having drawdowns. So I don't want to come across as like, oh yeah, I just have story trades every week. These are very rare. I would say I probably get a story trade like once a quarter, like every few months, I'll get a trade like this. But again, so far running super hot on the indices and continuing to stay bullish, especially as, we approach PMI numbers coming in very, very soon. So PMI numbers, ISM services PMIs is going to give us an inside look in terms of the services sector, which has been hot still in the US. Again, in case you're not a PMI connoisseur, anything above 50 in terms of a reading shows economic expansion, and anything below 50 will give you a reading of economic contraction. So we'll keep an eye on this PMI number as it gets closer. It is likely to move the markets, but this has been, even if PMIs come out something different than expected, at the end of the day, this week has been a smash hit winner for dollar bears, as well as for indices bulls, obviously. So if you're somebody out there who's trading gold, you've seen a pretty mixed week, not been a smash hit win. But if you're somebody who's more risk on oriented, like currently myself, it's been really good. It's been a really, really good start here to the month, and we pretty much hit everything that we wanted to see. Now, dollar bears, this is a surprisingly strong sell-off in my personal opinion for the dollar. But again, we've got a big break underneath support here, and if this candle closes like this today, signs look a little bit grim for next week when it comes to the dollar index. Again, take a look at that daily chart range that we have discussed many times in recent streams and videos. And look at this, guys. This is the game plan this week. We talked about breakouts either ways. When it was approaching the top, we thought, hey, the dollar might be ready to run here. But Jerome Powell was very, very much resistant to the opportunity to be hawkish. And that ended up coming into play. And markets sniffed it out and sold the dollar hard. And so this dollar index does not look strong right now. Again, we'll have to see how this daily candle closes, but so far it's looking like a smash hit winner for the bears. So we'll watch to see how this candle closes. If we can close beneath support, this level very well could turn into resistance as we go into new week. And this is coming off of what has been a really strong trend. So if we get, this consolidation truly changing directions, be very careful, guys. That could turn into a bigger downward trend. Like your NASDAQ trade, that's a story trade. Yes. I've had some story trades on the NASDAQ as well. I've also had some opposite of story trades on the NASDAQ recently. So let me be clear. I was early on the NASDAQ, so I had opposite. I don't even know what you call those, tragic trades, right? A string of losses on the NASDAQ before we caught this runner. So again, I reiterate that just because I don't, my goal is not to just be like, oh yeah, I'm in this giant winner and this is me every day and I trade from the beach. Guys, I'm in an office right now. We take this stuff really seriously. It's not a no get rich quick scheme stuff, but we did finally catch the nice run that we've been looking for on the indices. And so S&P still holding strong, 9 minutes out from PMI numbers as we get closer. Keep an eye on it. Again, we updated trades for those of you guys who are inside of the VIP group. Frank and I updated our positions here this morning. I'm floating a pretty good runner here. And again, the Edgefinder, nice confirmation there, which is keeping me especially willing to stay in this trade as long as I possibly can, as long as price action continues to do its thing. So, yeah, Scammer Nick, it's me. That's me on the weekends. I'm just kidding. So yeah, the idea here for me is to hold on to this trade as long as I possibly can. Trail stops. I'm looking for, as long as market structure doesn't break bearish, I'll stay in this trade. And it does not want to quit here. We got what we wanted to see out of this week. We saw the Fed meeting cool off on hawkishness. That was a major win for risk assets. I mean, Frank pointed out even Bitcoin trading higher on that, right? So risk sentiment gradually improved. And, by the way, the Russell, I made this point several times. Look at the Russell, guys. I tweeted out on Wednesday morning, I think. Was it Wednesday morning? Yeah, it was Wednesday morning. I said, watch the Russell, because the Russell is smaller caps and it's up 3% today. 3% on an index is a big move. And this is, even better. I have longs on this, and that's even better than the S&P 500 trade because, again, the S&P is the more kind of stable big companies. The Russell is a little bit more risk, a little bit more growth potential in there as they're smaller cap stocks. So indices, keep watching them. Again, I think they're probably a little extended. They're probably due for some pullbacks, but as long as we don't pull back and break structure to the downside, I'm going to stay long on them. Again, guys, we got 7 minutes to go here as we get closer to PMI numbers, which, as I mentioned, 6 minutes out now. PMI numbers set to potentially be market moving, whether you're trading gold, indices, stocks, whatever you're trading. Narrow list on the assets list here today, guys, for the watch list. S&P still bullish, like I said. Nikkei, German 30 indices really poking into the picture. Dollar CAD bullish. That's an interesting one. I got to take a look at dollar CAD because I know James actually has, James, the producer, editor. He's got a USD CAD short on, which turned out very well for him. I was long over here. I'm very, very glad that I got out of that trade now. Obviously, had I held on too loosely to that one, I would have completely fallen apart. I trailed a stop and was able to get out of there. So this week, no losses. Last week, losses. So, trying to keep it real on that front. Is Vanessa says the A1 stock box still available? I really want to get one. Vanessa, no, it's not. We kind of discontinued our offering of those things. There was a lot of shipping and handling stuff that we're not really as interested in doing. I mean, you can find other things like that on the internet though. So just look around for it. It was cool though. It was really cool. It was the dream to have like an A1 themed one. It was really cool, but the day has passed. So anyways, as we get closer again, guys, we're going to watch the dollar index. PMIs will be likely to impact this as if it's not already been impacted today by every which way from Sunday. But we're watching the the index for the dollar as we break underneath here. If this continues to show Downside, guys, this is gonna be in some ways a relief for the gold market. Let me actually, I want to take off change percentage. Now keep that change. We'll take off last as well. There we go. So anyways, guys, gold traders, the last stone to fall kind of thing here is breakouts. Are we going to get something on gold to the upside? I mean, that would be the dollar truly in free fall, as if you see gold breaking out, right? 5 minutes till PMI. We're getting closer. It's actually, so I read that message late. We're now 4 minutes out from PMI numbers, about 3.5 minutes. We'll be watching to see if that does impact the markets here a little bit. I do also want to remind you, if you have not already taken advantage of our Black Friday sale, I mentioned this earlier. Link is in the chat right now. Black Friday is currently 45. Actually, you know, James did this for us earlier. So it is 45% off this month, but James dropped you guys an extra 5% if and only if you message us during today's stream. That is 50% off for NFP. Let them know you're watching the NFP stream, and they'll get you half off anything in our store that you want. We're a software company out of Atlanta, Georgia. We are a small business, and if you support our streams and you like our software, consider treating yourself, getting access to our tools. It is a major game changer for traders to have more data, more tools. Again, if you're just trading just with charts and you've been like watching the streams and you're like, wow, you know what? The Edgefinder would be a game changer for me, like it has been for many other people. I'm not just saying that. It's not a magical indicator. It's not a crystal ball or anything like that. But if you're looking for more insights, more confirmations, COT data, retail sentiment, seasonal trends, economic statistics trackers, it is an algorithm that we've been working on for the last 1.5 years. And for Black Friday, we're doing 45% off. But if you message us during the stream here, as James pointed out, we are going to be doing 50% off for our stream viewers here. We're just going to cut the prices in half for you. So there you go. Message us now. Don't miss it. Nicholas, validate me. How am I going to validate you, my friend? How does ISM PMI affect indices? It's actually really important. PMI numbers, generally speaking, if you're an index trader, PMIs in some ways can lead directly to earnings growth across companies. Growth in services and manufacturing, respectively, right? We're going to get services here in a few minutes, actually about 1.5 minutes. Services PMI, companies that are in the service-related industry are going to, of course, that is going to be impactful to their growth or lack thereof. So very important. PMIs are actually really important to stock earnings growth. They are not necessarily a perfect indicator, of course, because each company is somewhat unique, but across the broad scanning board can certainly be very, very important to that. We are coming in, guys, 1 minute away from the PMI numbers. Thank you to everybody who stuck around with us for this stream. We've been going for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. I want to thank you guys for being here. We've got more stuff coming, so don't go anywhere. Again, PMI is coming in 45 seconds. Remember to like the stream if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing here. We put a lot of work into these streams and are very thankful to our audience for making them possible. You guys being here allows us to have sponsors, allows us to, again, be present on YouTube and supported financially to even be able to do these shows and have everybody involved who is involved. So coming in about 20 seconds out, we are going to be getting our PMI numbers, which we've got gold top left, euro down here, dollar top right, and S&P bottom right, guys. So keep an eye on whichever chart you'd like. These are 15-minute candles and breaking news. All right, let's see if we get any market moving news from PMIs here in just a moment. I'm keeping my eye on the dollar index. Dollar index, a little bit of a blip. Gold moving higher. Look at that wicking candle there. Not too much of a move. Let's see what PMI numbers came out to be. 51.8. That is a miss on the PMI numbers. And you could take this how you'd like to. You could say on one side, hey, that shows, slowing economy. The Fed's going to like that. And you could also say, hey, that's showing slowing economy. that's not good for stocks, right? But again, I think a cooling economy is not necessarily the same thing as a crashing economy, right? So in some ways, is that dollar bearish? Yeah, continues to be a slow in the U.S. economic side of things to complete what was already an economically slow day to day as we got jobs numbers that were cool. Again, continues to complement the dollar bearish thesis, I would say, today. Doesn't change anything for me on my S&P trade. Again, we continue to be long S&P inside of the VIP group. Stops are trailed. Stops are trailed very loosely. I am considering, after today's price action, trailing a stop further, as this has been a wonderful move here. And I'd probably like to lock in a little bit more gains. As long as we don't break out, at the very least, I don't want to see it break the 38.2. Key breakout point on the S&P 500. Let's see, what does that move from here? 1.66, 1.75 drop. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to trail that stop. We've had all the data come out. It's time to trail this stop. So we're going to do that. Stop is trailed below this low, this wick low that we got. So overall, very, very strong day and strong week. Floating $9,000 on this trade. Congrats to anybody who has been bullish on the indices with me. If you've agreed with that idea, if you disagreed with me, then you made some money over here, because I lost money over here, but we've made more of it, and we've made it back in more with this move here today. So this has been fantastic. This is a 4-hour chart. Trade alert was shared inside of the Discord channel. Here is the initial signal that was shared with members here. Yesterday at 8:30, we picked up I'm sorry, no, that was wrong. November 1st in the morning, picked up S&P 500 on a weak retracement after a breakout of this downward trend. Nice fundamental bias here, breakdown. Again, I was early on my initial tries to buy the S&P and NASDAQ in the past, but things looking really, really strong now with this week of just winning news for our position. Goal here is to now trail stops a little bit further. Give me a second here. So we are trailing stops from about 1.94% from the highs. Let's go to SPX 500 to 1.94. So we've got 1.94. So that is going to be, there we go. So that is at 4278. So give me a second here. I'm trailing my stop for members inside of the group here. What do we say? Stop is going to be put at 4278. 4278. Locking in more on this trade. So let's do this. What a move. This has just been a wild, wild push. Let me get the screenshot on this. Okay. Broke out of even this daily chart downtrend. I mean, that was even a surprise to where I thought it would go this week. That was just a smash hit. Again, I couple my excitement and what could be perceived as bragging with the fact that I have been early on this index trade. So I have taken losses along the way to get to this point. So please understand, I am happy that we caught this move. I think we were very, very right this week. Frank and I both long indices heavily beginning of this week. But I also want to clarify that last week was horrendous. I took like 2 losses in a row trying to buy NASDAQ. So we are overall very much up, but had to fight to get there. Okay. So I'm updating this for members. If you guys are Discord VIP group members, just keep an eye on the index channel. I'm updating my position here. Trailing stops just below key market structure. Locking in a good bit of profit here. I also want to clarify this week has pretty much been a clean sweep in terms of bullish news. In fact, the icing on the cake is I didn't even really closely look at Apple earnings. Apple earnings overall were surprise hit. There must have been some guidance or something that the market didn't love, because you did get this drop post announcement. But overall, again, you might ask, well, how'd you know it was going to do all this? I didn't know, first of all. There's no certainties in markets. However, we can go back to the initial idea. You can see over here, the seasonality was in favor. We pointed to this in our trade alert. Bullish seasonality, wider stop initially, nice technical breakout, stop below the previous lows. Earnings have overall been pretty strong. Looks like we're exiting the earnings recession, at least from what we've seen so far in a lot of stocks, a lot of the mega tech stocks, Meta, Microsoft, some winning numbers there. So I like the setup. I'm staying long S&P with a trailing stop in play. If we correct and break through support, I'll be trailed out for a profit. Again, guys, if you want access to the trade alerts group, or if you'd like access to the Edgefinder, both are currently, this is last call for the biggest discount of the entire year. 50% off is currently available. If you message us using the link in the chat, message us right now. We got that link dropped there for you. If you do click that, message us. This is what it looks like. And again, this is the final call on that 50% off deal for the day. Get access to our trade alerts, coaching webinars. You're not going to get rich quick in this stuff, but if you want to join a serious group of traders, if you surround yourself with the right people, it will dramatically change how your trading journey goes. If you're just out there wandering and you don't know what you're doing and you're just losing money in the markets, I'm telling you, this service, I would not push for people to join it and pay the price to join or get access to our software if I didn't believe in what we offer. Markets are difficult. They're not a place where you can just kind of waltz around and make a bunch of money. So if you're somebody who's been thinking about taking your trading to the next level, being serious, and you like what we're doing on these shows, if you like what you're seeing, if you're liking fundamentals and technicals and sentiment, combining them all with risk management and doing this, I mean, we've been doing this for years now. If you see yourself doing this long term, it's a one-time investment to get access to our educational stuff, right? You can get access to all of our coaching calls, our strategies written out in PDF form. You can also get access to our chat room where you surround yourself with a bunch of other serious people. Many of the people that are watching these streams right now, there's so many people in here who are incredibly dedicated to this craft, just like Frank, myself, and many of our guests. Not everybody who's on screen, we've met so many wonderful traders in our chat rooms. We attract a serious group of people. We have a wonderful environment. If you'd like access, take advantage, shoot us a message. And if you do it right now, I know this says 45% off, but if you do it before the stream ends, we'll give you 50% off anything you want on our store. Get access to the Edgefinder, VIP group, coaching webinars, all that good stuff. And again, take full advantage. It is on super sale. It's the best price of the entire year. With that said, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. And do not hesitate. Like I said, if you are thinking about joining us, it is worth the price. I'm very confident when I say that. If you're serious about this stuff, if you are that person, if you're like, I want to do this, trading is my thing, then join us. It's a small price to pay if you think you're going to be doing this long term. And that's who we want to attract. We don't want to attract people who are like, I want to do this for a month and make a bunch of money. That's not who we want, right? We want people who are serious about this stuff as much as we are. So message us if that's you. With that said, wrapping up the stream, I think, right? We don't have anything else planned unless I'm Chandler, James, or I don't think we have anything else on the radar. Let me just double check. No, I don't think we do. So, okay, all done. Thank you guys tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you guys next time. See you guys.
Thanks again for flying with us on the A1 Trader. Our goal at A1 Trading is to give you the latest in market news through our daily videos and articles. Take advantage of our huge Black Friday sale, 45% off, happening all month on our best products we have to offer. A1 Trader, prepare for the return home.